Do you know what? I actually used to play music professionally for a living, and while I was on tour, or do you mean down in London or on the road, everybody always needed their hair done, you know, and it was one of those GHD moments because everybody had these really long bits of hair, you know. And one day it went from just styling the band's kind of hair to, I need a haircut, will you do it? Yeah, I'll do it. So it was big orange plastic handle kitchen scissors, and it was just visually, that looks wrong, so that must need cut kind of thing, you know. And it looked good, you know, it was wrong, I can guarantee it was wrong, but it looked good. So I just kind of had this natural kind of, I guess, eye for it. And I got really bad problems with my wrists. And one day I kind of stopped playing music, and I came home and gave my friend a haircut again with the big orange plastic handle kitchen scissors. And he actually ended up dating a girl who worked in a salon. The boss commented on the haircut, said, "I really love this, where do you work?" "I don't work anywhere." The whole conversation unrolled that I just did it by eye kind of thing. And she offered me a job, and I walked into a salon straight away onto a column, cutting people with no experience or anything like that. It was the most stressful year of my life. People would come in for their appointment, I'd get them seated, then I'd just run through the back being like, "Oh my god, I don't know what to do with that," and they'd teach me literally through the back, "Just do this, do that." I'm like, "Cool." And I go back on the shop floor and do it. It was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, very unorthodox, you know. But through trial and error, I just kept getting better and better. The salon life wasn't so much for me back then. It was all perms, and it was much more older women making your tips just by giving the good head massage kind of thing, you know. So I kind of went back into retail, and it wasn't until maybe like 2 years ago now that I really found myself. I was still doing homers, still doing my parents, still doing my brothers, my friends, people like that. And it wasn't until 2 years ago I thought, you know what, I'm really enjoying this now, you know, and I want to get back to it properly. So I just focused on that, and that was the rest of it. I'd already opened my first shop with no lessons whatsoever. By the time we were looking at doing hard grinding things, I know you don't need a license in this country, but I just felt I was cheating myself, cheating my customers if I didn't have something properly. So lucky enough, I knew Vicky from SB Barber Academy and Ryan, who's got SB Barbers. Through Paul at A.K.A, we were all cutting on the same kind of team at that point, and I knew that Vicky was trained to actually give it qualifications and set up her own academy. So I contacted her, just asked, "Look, can I do some like out of hours, like kind of training with you? I don't know how much I know because it's just self-taught." But she came up, and I mean, we did my whole MBQ in like 6 weeks, you know. So I must have known something. I just didn't know I knew it, if that makes any sort of sense, you know. So I do have the qualification now, but we did like 6 sessions with Vicky. You know, she showed me a lot of stuff, showed me a lot of new techniques, which really improved my barbering. I mean, even looking at when I opened this place, when I became a full-time barber when Hard Grind opened, it was only 6 months ago. So my cuts from 6 months to even now are like night and day, you know. But I guess that's the same for everybody. Every day is a school day kind of thing, and I'm always constantly trying to learn, constantly trying to better myself, and watch extra things on YouTube. I've been lucky enough to obviously guest, like I say, with Paul and things down south. I've had Frank up here doing guest spots, and every time I'm like, "Oh, I like the way you did that," and "Oh yeah, that's cool," and just trying to learn the best I can from it, you know. So the education part I had was very small, but I mean it's certainly helped me propel it. I mean, Hard Grind wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Vicky and Ryan, that's for sure. I'm not sure. I mean, I think, without being too rude, I mean, Dundee's always a bit behind certain things, you know. So when those kind of big pomps were coming back in, the skin fades were kind of coming back through, Dundee was still just getting kind of, I mean, if they were getting fades, you were kind of doing something right, you know. It was very kind of behind at the times. And ever since we kind of started pushing those styles through, the more guys see, the more they want them. So, I mean, every second cut I seem to do these days is just a skin fade, you know. But again, that's kind of dying out a little bit. So we're always behind the times up here, I think. But certainly that kind of hard part, skin fade, is still very popular for us these days, which a lot of my guys are bringing in pictures of cuts I've done, which tends to be the kind of signature one at the minute for a lot of people, yeah. It's just an extension of me and my business partner, to be honest, you know. I mean, the influences are taken from all across the world. Like you say, it's got an American kind of feel to it as well, definitely. I've spent a lot of time in LA and things like that, which is clearly a reason. But I mean, generally, the shop looks kind of like my living room. I'm not going to lie, the jukebox actually came from my living room. My house is full of similar kind of artwork. I mean, this is my personal collection of art on the walls, you know. It's not something we just bought in a bulk one day. It's been building up and building up for years, but it's things that I'm inspired by. It's things that my business partner, things that we're all inspired by. So they've got albums on the wall of music that we love, artists that we love, the skateboarding element that we love. It just kind of came roundabout because I did a bunch of years in retail. My business partner owns a band and ship, so he's got an extensive kind of background in retail and clothing as well. And it's somewhere I'd want to go. You know, it doesn't have to be just about a haircut anymore. A barbershop can be so much more, and it should be so much more, I think, than just sitting on a cold bench waiting your turn. So for us here, we've got the coffee bar, so there's refreshments for people. There's now smoothies on the menu too for the younger kind of guy who maybe doesn't want a cup of coffee, you know. To being able to shop, browse the books, look at the art, I mean, grab a nip of Sailor Jerry, that kind of stuff. It's all part of the experience now, which is what we focus mainly on for Hargrind. That was actually Rich. That's my business partner. He came up with the name. I mean, any barber will know. I mean, it's a grind. Every day is that daily grind, you know. And a lot of people use that kind of the daily grind, back on the grind kind of thing. Anyway, hard grind kind of has a nod to skateboarding at the same kind of time, as well as you obviously grind the coffee beans in the coffee shop. So there's a play on words there, definitely. But I mean, anybody who comes and even sits in here and sees how hard we have to work, and everybody will maybe see an Instagram picture and think, oh, those guys are doing amazing. But like we said, there's so much more that goes. It's 24/7. My fiance kills me half the time because my phone's glued to my hand. It's just constant, and it is a grind every single day. So that is the main emphasis on where the name came from, for sure. We're doing a lot of things with Uppercut right now. We were the first people, when Paul was still an ambassador for the company, we were the first guys to bring that up to kind of, well, to Dundee anyway, for sure. There wasn't many even accounts in Scotland at that point. We've got Layrite, Suavecito, we've got Ruzel, we've got quite a few brands now building that. We also do our own range of beard oils and stuff with a local company called the Dapper Gent. I did a collaboration with them on a strawberry scented beard oil, which just seemed to boom instantly, so we kind of went down that avenue, did a cola flavoured one, which is very weird, but I mean it's awesome. It smells like it should be fizzy, and fizzy obviously doesn't have a scent, so it's kind of bizarre, but it works really well, so they sell really strongly for us. And then we've obviously got the clothing kind of side of things too, which is an extra thing for us. Myself and Rich design a lot of it. We've also, because Richard owns Abandoned Ship, they're one of the biggest companies out there right now, and they've got a list that long of different artists who they've collaborated with in the past, different designers, and we're really lucky to be able to tap into some of those designers too. Tom Winslade, who's designed for brands like the Hundreds and stuff before, he designed a few of our fonts. He redid our logo for us as well to make it a bit cleaner and a bit more custom. The original Hargrind fonts, again, it's just a font off the internet kind of thing, you know, with our own little spinning arrangement of it, but he basically took that and adapted it. He does everything freehand with his Sharpie pen, it's incredible. And he created a custom font for us, so even our italic script key, it's not just a script off online, it's a custom thing that he's drawn by hand, which is a really cool thing for us, because again, we always try to keep it a bit different, you know. But we're going to be working with a lot more designers in the future. I mean, I'm a barber, my design is pretty minimal, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I know what looks good and I know what will sell kind of thing, so I've got an eye for that. When it comes to sitting me down with a pen trying to design stuff, I give the most basic sketched ideas to designers and let them create it, because my Rich is the same. We were trying to make a flyer the other day and he's hopeless. He's just as bad as I am, so we're lucky enough that we've got at least a script of people that we can bring in to help create it for us.
As a modern day barber, Colin, obviously it seems like barbers nowadays are not just coming in and cutting hair. They have all the brands and the social media and all these things to promote their business, and you know, they've got different things that they want to do.
Yeah.
Where do you gain your biggest satisfaction under the Hargrind umbrella?
Mine is still very customer focused in this shop. I mean, we've obviously got big plans for Hargrind as an actual brand. Now that the apparel side of it's released, the Hargrind apparel, that's a great buzz for me in the terms that people are tagging us in pictures of them wearing our clothing, and I think you wouldn't do that unless you were proud to be associated with that brand. You know, like I wear a bunch of t-shirts every day and don't feel the need to kind of post, look at me in my brand new X t-shirt or whatever, you know, but the fact that there are people from up and down the country, and we're shipping to Europe already, in America and places like that, who are like tagging us, like, look at me in my Hargrind tee for the world to see and their friends and family to see. I mean, that means something. That's quite credible, I think, in my eyes, which is a really cool deal. To walk down the street and watch someone walk past, just give you that nod because they know they're wearing your brand. That's a pretty cool feeling. I mean, I've wanted my own clothing side of things, my brand, since I was like maybe 14, started my first ever punk rock band. I always had this dream of having a brand, so that for me is huge at the minute. But the biggest satisfaction is the reviews that we get from people, the guys that actually come in, wait 3-4 hours sometimes for a haircut, because for the first 6 months at Hargrind I was the only person cutting hair, and there was literally 8 to 10 people sitting waiting 3 hours, 4 hours for just a haircut from me, which they're mental. I mean, that's crazy for me, and I know we're not the only shop that's like that either, and it's incredible that people will literally travel from all over, or they will sit and wait that length of time. They must obviously be comfortable enough, which is a huge compliment in the first place, but to sit and wait that long just for me to put my personal touch on them is amazing. And the fact that they can leave feeling better about themselves, they're really happy with their haircut, they'll go out their way to leave reviews on Facebook or Instagram and tell you how much they enjoyed the experience. There's no better feeling than that. That's why I do it in the first place, you know, it's that feeling. You can't put a price on that, you know.
Okay, excellent. And tell me, you're quite heavily tattooed. Do you think this is part of the actual culture, part of being a barber in this day and age?
I don't think so. I mean, it certainly looks like it is now, but I mean, that's just, I mean, the guys that I know that are heavily tattooed, I mean, we didn't get tattooed because we were barbers. We've been getting tattooed, like, I'm 31 almost. I've been getting tattooed since I was 15. You know, like, it just seems to be a bit more common now. And I think the younger people who are coming into this culture and jumping on it because they see how popular it is now, which is fantastic, I think they're associating it a lot more because I guess the cooler kind of barbers they're seeing it just tend to be more heavily tattooed. But it's certainly not because we're barbers. We're not doing it to kind of link the two. They link themselves naturally now with the new modern age of barbering, but it's certainly not a thing I think of the more tattoos you are, the better of a barber you are. Certainly not. They're two still separate things in my eyes. It just so happens that a lot of kind of these modern age barbers are more youthful people, and with the culture we're in now, it is more acceptable and it is more common to be tattooed in this day and age. There's just a lot more people in the barbering industry, it seems to have taken it to the extreme that myself have, like people like myself have, you know.
Okay. And actually going into barbering now, you contacted me to get US tools and the frequency 60 Hertz converter. Tell me, what problems were you experiencing before finding the US clippers and the converter, of course?
You know, the original was, for me, it was the quality, you know. I mean, they cut okay, there was nothing wrong with that sort of things, but I found cables were breaking quite often, you know, blades were needing replaced more often. It was quite frustrating at the time, you know, where you were having a good enough kind of product, but there was just flaws within that, and the fact that certain people sold cables separate, in that way you know there's going to be a problem with it, so fix it, you know, like make a more durable cable. I mean, I've had to pay local people to re-cable machines countless times over, you know, and you know, obviously you're taking inspiration from all these other barbers, and you obviously look at American barbers and you think, oh, I wonder what they're using, you know, it's a natural process. And those machines, I mean, I bought some before and I couldn't run them. It was as simple as that. I literally had a pair of Masters before, like a year ago. Yes, I'm so happy now. I got a custom set as well from Funk's Custom Clippers. Brilliant. Spoke to the guy, amazing. Turned them on. It was like the loudest noise I'd ever heard in my life. I was like, wow, these must be broken. I played with them and everything. Nothing you could do. Like, different converters, must have spent easily over £100 on different converters from like Maplin, Amazon, all these places. It just said, yeah, this does the job, and nothing ever worked. So I just sold them again. I didn't even use them. I just had to sell them off at a loss, and went back to just using UK machines until you came along and fixed it.
Okay. And how would you say that the American tools has helped you directly, and the frequency 60 Hertz converter?
I mean, I get a lot of people now in this kind of area asking if I can do like kind of training with them and things, and it's more on the fade kind of side of things, you know. And for me, that's the most crazy, most humbling thing ever for me, because, like, you know, I'm self-taught like that, so a lot of me feels, what right do I have to kind of teach someone something, you know? But I mean, if there is something I can pass on that I've been lucky enough to pick up or be shown, then I'm humbled to do that for someone. But my fades from before the converter came along, before I could start using like the Masters and things like that again, they're like night and day again. I find myself fading a different way. The notches even on the Andis Masters, the fact that you can instantly see the adjustment that you're making, my fades are so much better now that I'm using those machines again. And I'd freak out if I had to go and do, like I say, a guest spot somewhere else and go back to using something different for certain things. I've got different machines for different things, and back when I started, there was one clipper, one scissor, one comb. That was all I had. And I know that's maybe all you need to cut hair, but I've now got a few different machines that I like for different hair types, like for doing different kind of finishes and different fades. And I think because of that, my game has upped dramatically since I got those machines. So I think everybody's each to their own in that kind of respect. Just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for someone else. But I mean, from all the people that I know that are using them, and myself personally, I mean, I couldn't respect them more. I couldn't talk highly enough of them. So if they were kind of sitting on the fence kind of thing and wondering if they should go that way, I would definitely try them out. You know, they're such amazing machines. If it didn't work for you, you can still find someone that's going to buy them from you if that was the worst case scenario. But I don't know anybody that would switch to like an American machine, use the converter and think, oh, this isn't for me, and kind of sell it on kind of thing. Because everybody that I know that's purchased them has never looked back once, and it's always helped them up their game, you know. So I just get on it if I was them, you know. I've never looked back once.
Okay. And final question, what's next for Hard Grind?
Hard Grind, we are about to open up at Aberdeen location. That should be open in the next 4 weeks. It's probably why I look so tired, because I'm that stressed from it, but we're looking at Aberdeen for the next 4 weeks. And then we're just going to really kind of settle down and make sure that both the stores are running really well. We're going to push the apparel side of things. We've got a few more kind of grooming products to add to our own personal Hard Grind range. And I've got a baby boy due in August, so for me, it's get these running perfectly. I mean, McDonald's tastes the same no matter where you go in the world, and for me, that's essential for Hardgrind. If I had 20 locations, it'd be pointless if they're all different and doing different things. I want them to be at a certain standard all the time, maybe anal to a fault, but that's just the way Hardgrind has to work for me and for Rich. He's just the same, you know, so we want to see the apparel do well. We're looking to wholesale the brand as well, talking to people like Foot Asylum and people like that, hopefully to start wholesaling the brand, which will just create a bigger buzz around the name Hardgrind, which is what we're trying to push right now. But I mean, it's a lifestyle for us. It's not just, like I say, it's not just your local barber shop, it's not just a haircut. So for us, it's just getting the two shops running perfectly together and harmoniously together, build our strong team in and push the brand further after that.